All right, so Katie, we're working on it right now. We're about to go live on it with a new link.
Okay, I need to post the new one in the Instagram.
Okay, we're live.
Dang.
Okay. For those early adapters who are able to figure this out, we are live, I believe, and we're going to be sending that out. The new link. Oh, phone cannot connect. For those early adopters who got the message that we're not going to be on the original link, we're creating a new link. We're going to wait for people to come in. But for those of you who are here, congratulations. You have figured out technology faster than anybody else, faster than we have. We're really proud of you. We're just going to work on kind of getting all this technical stuff put in place. We're really excited about today's live show. There's a lot of moving components to it, which is making it a little bit of a challenge for us, but I really appreciate all of your patience and bearing with us as we are working it out. Cool. Yeah, the second camera's having a shut off. Are you? Yeah, do your thing. It is live on YouTube though? Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah, I see you.
Okay, hi everyone who has made it. We're having to resend out new links. The original link that we had planned wasn't quite working for us, so we're using this new one. So thank you so much for your patience. Thanks for being flexible. Thanks for being dynamic. That's kind of what we need right now during these times.
Okay.
Great. It's exciting. Hey, Katie. We'll get into proper introductions in just a moment, but for right now, we're just going to kind of give ourselves just a few minutes as we can kind of send these links out, answer any questions that people may have just in terms of accessing this content. We want to make sure that people get to see it because we have a very special live show for everybody. And yeah, I'm very excited about it. One of the reasons why this is so exciting is because we have kind of put out this technical gauntlet for us to tackle in a short amount of time. With our very first time doing it, we listened to a very insightful Brene Brown podcast about the first time, the FFT. And this is definitely an FFT for us. We're learning a whole lot. So I appreciate all of you guys for being out there and being part of the learning process. But we hopefully are going to have several different camera angles. We have a special guest on the show with us today. We're going to go through a top 5 list. There are surprises. There may even be a drink involved. I think now there has to be, given how things are going. But we're really excited about this show. And what better day to have an egg show than on Easter itself? So hopefully you have been running around your garden or backyard or socially distant park and have found some little eggs full of sweet things or cash. That was always nice. Or coins. Being a kid and getting cash and coins in an Easter egg. The Easter Bunny should do more of that. Maybe the government can put the stimulus checks that we're all supposed to get in Easter eggs and hide it around for us because it feels like it's an egg hunt to get money from the government these days. Hey-oh. But anyways, we're not going to get political on this show. But the point is that it's Easter, it's eggs. So let's talk about eggs. I'm going to have a little check-in with my chief technology expert to make sure that we are looking good on that end. It looks like we are. It looks like my camera over here is, keep trying using Wi-Fi, unable to connect. Okay. So let's try this one more time. I have a camera here on a tripod. It's actually a phone. And it's going to hopefully give you guys a little insight into the stuff that I'll be cooking today. It's not just going to be me on this show, which is super exciting, but I need to have I wanted to show you guys a different angle, and hopefully we can get to that, but it doesn't look like it's working right now. So we'll come back to it. Let's just, we good? We good over there, Chief Technology Expert? Okay, we are. Yay, all right. Everybody, thank you guys so much for being here. This has been a very eventful past couple of hours for us getting all of this set up for you, but we have a very special live show. This is something that we've never done before, something that we're super excited about. First, I just want to thank you guys for being here. I'm very happy that you're here. I wore my spaceship shirt for no reason whatsoever, other than I think it looks cool. And I want to introduce our very special guest. She is not only an amazing chef, she has a catering company and an award-winning food truck here in Austin, Texas, but she is a dear friend and a wonderful human being. I would love to hand it over for you guys all to be introduced to Kati Luedecke. We went over that.
Whichever one, it's totally fine. Hey, Paul, thanks for having me today. It's one of my favorite times of the year because I love eating and also love cooking. So what better way than a holiday to get to do both? So I'm Kati Luedecke. For those of you who don't know me, I own and operate Kilawasi food truck and catering company here in Austin, Texas. It's located at Independence Brewery down south. And we're currently closed during all of this. So we're doing these fun videos with Paul and just kind of keeping busy. And, we're really excited to cook some of my favorite eggs today. Oh, look, there's his camera worked out there. That's a little bit about me. I've been cooking for, over 10 years. And I've been cooking eggs for even longer. So hopefully I can give you guys some pretty good tips, and Paul and I are going to cook through some yummy goodness today.
Yeah, I am just so thankful. I have to tell everyone though that because I don't know if people realize, but we had this theme called, instead of it going to a gym and having a leg day, like that's a very common thing for all you gym rats out there. We're having an egg day. So we came up with this concept. We were at a friend, Kieran Fitzgerald, if you're out there watching, we were at your 40th birthday party, you old man you, and we came up with this idea of what are some of our favorite ways to cook eggs. And we kind of were collaborating and decided, let's do a show about it. And then this whole pandemic thing happened. So we are now live broadcasting from 2 different locations, discrete locations somewhere in Austin, Texas, to all of your homes, wherever you may be. And Kati, I'm just so thankful that you're here because I've learned so much about food and cooking and preparation from you. I think you're a wealth of knowledge, and I'm very excited for viewers to get to hear some of your insights today, especially about eggs. So thank you so much for being here.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Well, I don't know about you, but I think we need a drink to get started.
Yeah, I think we do. Let's jump right into it. I want to first, I want to open this up in case you guys watching do want to follow along with some of the recipes. We're going to make a drink. You're more than welcome to join us. But if you do have some eggs, or if you have some butter, chives, salt, pepper, or if you have a soft cheese, Kati, would you like to add anything maybe about what type of soft cheese people should grab out of their fridge?
Yeah, mascarpone would be awesome. If you have a goat cheese, if you have a blue cheese, cream cheese, anything that's going to be a little melty, and it like easy melt, craft singles, whatever you have during this quarantine time, we don't judge. So yeah, so just any of those.
Great. If you guys want to go ahead and grab that stuff, and for some of the recipes, it is going to be important to let the eggs come to room temperature. So if you're going to cook along, go ahead and grab your eggs out of the fridge now.
So I have a really quick trick if your eggs are in the fridge. A really quick thing that you can do to make your eggs kind of come up to room temp faster is if you want to grab a cup of like warm to hot water and just pop a few eggs in there, and that's going to bring those eggs up faster than letting them sit out in advance. So
great. And when you say hot water, maybe not boiling hot, but is there
not boiling water, hot to the touch, just enough to get those cold eggs to come up to temp.
Give them a little bath is what you're saying.
Yeah, you're just wanting to give them a little love, put them in a little jacuzzi, egg jacuzzi.
Egg jacuzzi. Put in some, but no bubbles, maybe? No bubbles. Okay, let's get off that.
Bubbles. Yeah.
Let's make a drink, Katie. I know
Sounds great.
we were kind of racking our heads about this, and we stumbled upon this recipe, and it seems just like it's too perfect for us not to make it. It's a rabbit gin sour.
Yeah. It's gin, obviously one of my favorite things to drink. So
gin, okay.
I have chosen this wonderful gin, small batch gin out of New York, and I'm really excited to use that one. What are you using over there, Paul?
I am using Strange Monkey Gin. In fact, this is a bottle that that you shared with us. I believe it has your name on it.
It's good that you hold on to these things.
Yeah. If you guys want to make this rabbit gin sour drink with us at home, you are going to need some gin. You're going to need a whole lime. You're going to need 1 egg. And you're also going to need a little bit of sugar. And if you have a mixer, you can do that. Although, Katie, they don't have to have a mixer. They could use something else.
Yeah, you can use a shaker. I just throw everything in there. Take lime or a lemon, just juice the whole thing in there. I would take a little bit of that zest off before you do it and throw some in there. You can take your egg, and you're going to want to separate the white from the yolk because you're only going to be using the white. That's pretty simple. I wouldn't do it directly over your drink in case you get some yolk in there. Maybe do it over a cup or a bowl. You're going to need ice and, of course, your gin. It's pretty simple. It only has 4 or 5 ingredients. 4 ingredients. I can't do math or count or arithmetic or whatever. So I'm just going to zest this lemon. I'm just going to get a nice little thing. Most of the time you could do like a twist on top or something like that, but I just wanted some zest in mine today. And if you don't have a lemon, the lemon's really good. You can use any citrus, grapefruit, orange, lime, whatever you have in your kitchen. Those are all very, very good options. I just juice my lime over my hand, just catch all the seeds so you don't end up with like yummy lemon seeds in your teeth, break your teeth. It's totally fine.
Great. Yeah, I went ahead and I juiced a lemon too. I got a little bit of the zest, and then we're going to use we're just using 1 egg. So we're using the egg white from 1 egg.
Yep, 1 egg.
Great.
And
I can do that.
I use have these little cage-free eggs that are really good. So kind of the difference, you can have cage-free, free range, farm fresh. There's so many different kinds of eggs to buy. And I typically stick to the cage-free ones. That's kind of, I'm gonna grab some.
Yeah, I think that's actually a great thing to talk about, since we're having an episode all about eggs, because people can go to the grocery store and like you're saying, they see pasture raised, cage-free, free range, organic. Like, what is all of that? What do you kind of recommend for our viewers to kind of get really good eggs at the grocery store?
Yeah, so first thing, free range eggs. So when you see free range, that just means that the chickens have spent part of the time outdoors. Like as far as like they've been allowed to go in the field or anything like that. It doesn't necessarily mean that they spent their entire lives outside. It just, oh, my dog wants to go with this too.
Great. Awesome. Well, I think there's lots of different ways to buy your eggs.
Just shove her. Now I have to wash my hands.
Yes, everyone. If you haven't already, now is a great time for us all to wash our hands. 'Tis the season of hand washing. It's the hand washing, sanitation, social distance. We're all doing our part. But yeah, Katie, you were talking about free range eggs.
Yeah, so free range eggs doesn't necessarily mean they're always free range. It just means that they spent part of their life roaming around in their habitat. So when you get to cage free, it just means that they have never spent any time in a cage. So they're going to be roaming around their little field or pen or whatever. It just means that they're not in this enclosed cage. As far as farm fresh goes, if you ever see the term farm fresh, that's just a ploy. Don't buy it. They're just trying to make it sound healthier. They're probably just your run-of-the-mill egg farm, small cage eggs that come that way that say farm fresh. So not,
Gotcha.
it's hit or miss. And then, pasture raised. So those are going to be free farm. They have like a little hen house in the middle of the pasture, but they let them like run around the field and stuff like that. So those are the 4 top types of eggs, I think. Yeah.
Great. So if you're interested, look for pasture or free range eggs in the grocery store. Great.
So
wait a minute. You're
starting
ahead of me.
to shake my beverage.
Wait, so wait, hold on. So you did the lemon and then I have my egg white. Should I add the egg white now?
Put it in
Okay,
there.
dump it in. And then did you add your gin?
You're going to add gin, add your ice. Oh,
okay,
yeah.
do you want to tell me when?
Yeah, I'll tell you when. Keep going. Keep going. A little more. That's good.
Okay, wow. Okay, there we go. We got a show to do, folks. And then for the sugar, is there how much sugar should I be?
I just do a few pinchfuls. Just like 2. Yeah.
Couple of pinches. All right, there we go. This is gonna be fun, everybody. Okay, ice.
Throw some ice in there. And get going. We're gonna
Tom Cruise.
We're gonna shake it for like a minute and shake it really hard.
Okay. So if you guys, this may be really loud. It may be really kind of annoying.
You really want that egg white foamy.
We want foamy egg white. Carissa, you have an update on some of our viewers.
This is why we recommend that, if you're kind of on the quarantine, lazy about side, just throw this in the blender, blend it up.
Might need to put more ice in this. Yeah, that's right.
I have a very fancy glass here. All right, this should be just about ready, Paul.
Okay, a fancy glass?
I think so. Let's check it out. See what happened. Oh yeah, I got some beautiful foam on mine.
Okay, I have a beautiful assistant. Oh wow.
Look at this.
So,
look at that.
Oh, that looks fantastic.
Beautiful layer of foam on top. You can see the lemon zest in it. Paul's lovely assistant is helping him find the appropriate stemware.
Yeah, everyone, Carissa, my lovely
Yay!
assistant. Okay.
I'm going to cheat and try this, Paul. Actually, we're going to cheers first, I guess.
I'm just going to put the lemon zest on top.
Yeah, I think that's a good option.
Here, I'll show you guys in my secondary camera. If there we go.
There you go. So that's a gin rabbit sour.
All right. Well, cheers. Cheers, Kate.
Cheers.
Katie. Cheers, everyone at home. Hopefully you made it.
Wow, that's actually not bad.
No, that's great. Okay.
Pretty good.
Now we're awake. Now we're alive.
Now we're
okay,
alive.
Everybody. Now we're alive. So just to do a little more housekeeping, we are a little bit ahead of you guys. There's a little bit of a lag. So we're going to do a major Q&A session at the end. Although what we are doing here today, as we have already mentioned, if you're just joining us, I have Katie with me. She's a chef, owner of Kilawasi, and we are going to go through our 5 favorite ways to cook an egg, not bake. We're going to be cooking eggs. For each egg, we're going to have a little Q&A session if you have a specific question about that egg. If not, we'll just go into the next one. And at the end, we'll have a big discussion, being able to go over all the things that we talked about today. Just a little bit, kind of keep that in your back pocket as you need it. And Katie, maybe tell us a little bit about the type of utility that we'll need today to make these eggs.
So basically, you can use whatever pan you have in your house. If you have a nonstick pan, that's obviously like awesome. It's going to be really easy to cook most of the eggs in a nonstick pan. I think that, you know, I use cast iron for like everything. I have all of my cast iron set up on the stove. Probably not really practical for like some eggs, but I'm going to do it anyways because that's what I have. One of the things that I really, really enjoy is using a fish spat for like fried eggs. This is a game changer. You know, I have a standard spatula here. These are also like really great, but I feel like the fish spat, because of the angle of the spatula, you really can get under the egg without messing it up, you know? You're also gonna need just like a little rubber doo-doo spat. That's what I call them.
That's great. All right. So just a couple of, we just need a couple of pans and a couple of spatulas. And in total, we're going to be making 5 eggs today. But if you guys, you know, if you don't have to make all of them, if you just want to make one, if you just are here for the cocktail, or if you're just here for the charming conversation, we're happy that you're here. So let's go ahead and let's just get started, shall we? I think we know what we're doing. We know the ingredients. We know the materials. We have our Gin Rabbit Sour. Like, let's get started. So first, the first egg and our top 5 countdown for our 5 favorite eggs that we cook is dun, 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 the basted egg.
Yes.
It's like very, very, I promised that we would give you guys high tech, and I hope we delivered.
Paul, you are killing it with that high tech over there.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to go ahead and I have a pan here that I'm going to go ahead and start preheating for my basted egg. And Katie, what is a basted egg?
So the basted egg, it's one of my favorite eggs because, you know, traditionally the basted egg is done with butter. But to me, a basted egg just means you're cooking it by like spooning liquid over the egg as it's like cooking in the liquid. So in my opinion, you can do tomato sauce, you can do salsa, you can do beans. You could also do a can of Wolf brand chili if you want, personal fave. No judgment, no shame. But basically whatever you have, you're gonna wanna make sure that when you put your egg into the sauce is already hot and coming up to a nice like rolling boil. And then you're gonna wanna turn it down to a simmer. So Paul, I think, what do you have going on over there?
I have some salsa.
Awesome. That's like a really great choice. Yeah.
There we go.
So you're just gonna want to turn that on, get it up to like high heat, and then you're gonna want to turn it down. This is a pretty good one. You've probably seen this similar to this, like shakshuka. That's kind of a popular way to cook these eggs. That's more like you throw it into the hot liquid and then you kind of like it bastes, and then you put it in the oven and you kind of get a finishing cook on the egg. So we're just doing kind of a quick version of that. This is kind of, with whatever you have in your fridge.
So we're not adding any fat to this necessarily for this particular style.
Yeah, all you need is your sauce.
That's a great lesson for life, right? Like if sauce was love, like all you need is sauce.
Sure. But also don't hate on butter, because butter literally needs to go into everything most of the time. So
yeah, I mean, I think the only reason we are not using butter in this is because butter appears in every other dish that we have for eggs.
True. We have a lot of butter today. If you're cooking all the eggs with us, you might be using close to a stick of butter for like 4 eggs. So classic.
Okay. I don't think I've ever boiled salsa on the stovetop, but it smells great.
It's like, I don't know, it's like a Texas pasta sauce, I guess. I mean, throw a can of paste on the stove and you got yourself dinner.
All right, so we're getting pretty close to a complete rolling boil here. So I'm just going to let that go for a little bit longer, and then I'll cut the heat down a little bit.
Love it. Awesome. Yeah, that's a great way to do it. So kind of one of the things that I wanted to talk about with you was, I think you asked me too, is how do you know that I have a good egg? Like how do you know when the egg is good and when the egg is bad, right?
Right.
It's kind of there's numerous ways to figure that out. When you go to the store to get your eggs, you want to make sure that there's no cracks in them. That's pretty standard. That's like the bare minimum you should do to make sure that your eggs are not bad. So one of the other things that you can do, so you always want to look. I have a couple of examples here. So on the thing, it's going to say the grade of the egg. So always look for that AA grade if you're buying store-bought eggs and not getting them from the farmer's market or things like that. This will be the highest quality of egg that there is. And then, they have sell-by dates on the side, and eggs have expiration dates. So you want to make sure that you check those, because you could wind up with eggs that are expired. So the other good way to determine is, I like to call it there's 2 tests. The sniff test is one. Pick up an egg and smell it. Does it smell like rotten eggs? Then it's fine. It's a good one.
Mine smells like a rabbit sour.
Yeah, so that's totally fine. If it smells sulfury, or it kind of smells like, I don't know, sulfur, that's not a good egg. Don't eat it. It's terrible. It looks like your salsa is looking good over there.
Yeah, should we?
Let's crack
started?
Crack it in there. And you're gonna want to make sure you turn down that temp to a slow. You can turn it on low to medium. There you go. And I would just let it sit in there for a little bit. And towards the end, we're gonna spoon some of that salsa on the top, but we're gonna let it cook for about 3 minutes before we do that.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
What's nice about this is that you have a lot of flavor. It's cooking in all of this flavor too. Like, we're not really seasoning it at this point.
Yeah. I would just, at the very end, we'll finish it with a little salt and pepper. But other than that, like, there's no need to season it because you already have this great base. So I did mention there's one other test, Paul, and this is my favorite test. So you take your water and you put your egg in it. And if your egg sinks to the bottom, it means there's a higher density and a higher water content than the water in the glass. So it's a fresh egg. If the egg is floating, it's lost a lot of that water density, and it means it's probably a year old. You know, like eggs sit on the shelf in the grocery store, like they sit in warehouses and then they go to the consumer. So, you know, that's a good way to test and make sure.
That's a great tip. That's a really good tip.
It's easy, fun, great way to test.
Great.
How's your egg looking?
If you have an egg that is floating but doesn't smell bad, is there any type of alternative recipe that you would use for it other than, like, is that something that you would use for a cake versus like a fried egg or something?
I wouldn't, because, you know, I'd probably just cook it like it is. I wouldn't add it to anything, because when you're cooking cakes, you really, the point of a lot of cakes is you're getting that density from the eggs when you whip it. And so if you're whipping a low dense egg, it's not going to give you that height and that foam and that lift that you normally get out of a cake. It's probably going to be shrunk and like sink in the middle and things like that.
Gotcha. All right. The great tips. This is why people are here. This is why
I know, right?
We've all gathered, everybody. And if you guys have a specific question for Kati or myself, please go ahead and leave it into the comments. Carissa is fielding all the comments. Thank you so much. And also kind of what we're doing, in case you're just joining us, is that we're going through our 5 favorite ways to prepare an egg. We're at number 5 with the basted egg. And how are we looking, Kati? Can you see how we're looking on the basted egg cam?
I'm gonna shift this over. Oh, it's looking beautiful. It's beautiful. So we're almost at about 3 minutes here on that egg. So what I would recommend that you start doing is you're gonna want to get just a teaspoon, a tablespoon, whatever, and you're gonna want to start spooning some of that salsa on top of the egg. So get it nice and covered, because what that heat from that salsa is going to cook that top of the egg. It's going to cook the white, but hopefully what we're going for here is that it's not going to cook the yolk. So you can put it over the yolk, but it shouldn't cook it. It should only cook that white around it. And we'll let that go for about 2 minutes, and then that is going to be done. Great.
All right, 2 minutes on the clock. Time us, folks. Oh, that's a great question. How would what is a great way to serve a basted egg?
So I like to do a basted egg with toast. You can serve it on toast. You can serve it next to toast. Any type of bread is awesome. Tortillas, basted egg tortillas, done. It's like the ultimate egg delivery system, holding a tortilla and like scooping the egg up with it. You know, you just got to make sure you get it all in your mouth. I think that, what's another way to serve it? Like with that, I would serve it with like black beans. Black beans, you could do some rice, you could put some cheese on it if you want. Those are all really good things to serve that with.
Oh, this is all sounding fantastic.
Oh,
I'm gonna just warm up a tortilla. Why not? Yeah, I got some tortillas. You know.
Got a tortilla.
Little top tip for quarantine times: the Mexican markets that we've been going to seem to have quite a bit of produce and not a lot of lines. So there is a little market by our house that we've been going to in a pinch, and they happen to have a ton of tortillas. So we're good. Yeah, that's great. We too have been going to some local markets around us, and Poco Loco has some good, like, just staples that you need: tortillas, tortilla chips, anything bread based, really. Lots of carbs. It's the quarantine of carbs. It's just how it goes. How are we looking now?
I think we're looking pretty good from what I could see. This egg, I'm trying to see behind my multitude of screens here. If you want to pop a little sauce right on top of that yolk real quick, it should be almost done. Great. We'll do that. And you see how that sauce is cooking down to where it's getting like chunky with the tomatoes. So it's like you're not eating salsa anymore. It's like you're eating like a tomato picadillo almost. Right. With your egg. I think Carissa has a question for us. Oh, I love questions. Okay. Yeah.
Are huevos rancheros basted eggs, or do you fry them?
So the question is, are huevos rancheros basted eggs, or do you fry them?
So it just depends where you go. You know, there's quite a few restaurants here, and they've been doing it for, 100 years. They've been around for a very long time. And they fry their eggs and then they'll sauce them. A lot of places will do them over easy and then sauce them so that the residual heat continues to cook them. They're very similar to a basted egg, but they do most of the time typically fry them. But
Great.
good question.
Great question. Yeah, I think a lot of it's kind of chef's preference too. If you're in a restaurant making a lot of huevos rancheros, maybe you want to streamline your process. But
that
I
egg
think
is
we're
done. Yeah, you're done.
we're
You're
looking
good.
done here.
Yeah.
And I got a little done tortilla as well. I'll show you guys. There we go. And then what do you say? Just kind of throw it all in there?
Yeah, you could throw it on top. You can put it on the side. It's up to you.
There we go, everyone.
So give us a little, cut open that egg real quick. Let's make sure you did it right.
Let's just pretend I did and move on.
No, I want to make sure.
Oh, look at that. Okay, that's the yolk. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
That's the egg. That's the money shot, man, right there. It's perfect.
That looks great. And like because Carissa is helping us out so much, I'm just going to throw in just a pinch of salt here for her. And I'm going to crack a little bit of black pepper on top of this. I don't know if you guys can see me doing this or not, but I'm just going to do a little bit of this little preparation. And what is food? But food is an act of love. So here you go. A little breakfast for you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, back to the show.
Okay.
So thanks for the questions, everybody. We did the first one. Thank you guys. I think this is just to reiterate, for those of you guys that are just joining us, we had some technical difficulties that started this off. Hopefully you found the new link and you are here with us. We're so excited that you're here. We have a lot of really fun things, a few more surprises, and we have 4 more eggs that we love to cook that we want to share with you guys. We're answering your questions along the way. So Katie, it's time now to reveal our 4th favorite egg to cook.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Drum roll, please. Here we go. It is the sunny side slow.
Sunny side slow.
Katie, what is a sunny side slow egg?
Well, so I like to call this egg, and a little shout out if they're watching. It's the Jean-Louis low and slow sunny side egg. So this egg is exactly how it sounds. You are going to turn your burner on the lowest setting it possibly can go on. And we're going to start out with a little bit of olive oil or butter. So it doesn't matter which one. Olive oil is kind of fun. Just it gives it a fresher, different taste. But that's kind of what I like to start out with. So what I've done is I've started this cast iron pan on really, really low heat. And my stove doesn't get like super low. So what I'm going to have to do is intermittently turn it off and turn it on again. For those of you who have a typical gas stove or coil stove, this is going to work just fine on your lowest setting. It shouldn't get too hot. So the idea is that this egg is going to cook for 10 minutes on the lowest setting possible. So if you have your room temp egg that you've been bringing up to room temp, it's going to slowly cook those whites for 10 minutes. And the yolk is just going to be totally runny and lightly warm. That's it. So it's very, I like to call it a sexy egg. It's a very sexy egg.
Very sultry, very nice.
Yeah. So I'm going to get started by putting some olive oil in my pan. So do enough to kind of cover the bottom. You want to make sure that your egg isn't going to stick while it's going. But this pan, it's been I got it up to a nice warm temp. So I have my eggs here. And so I'm just going to crack one of these, just dead center. Just going to do one. It's going to kind of run a little bit, but I'm going to hold it in the center before it falls off to the side here because my house is crooked. All right, so that egg is going to cook for quite some time, for about 10 minutes. So this to me gives you this perfect egg where you can take a little piece of toast and just break that yolk and just dip your toast in the yolk. It's just delightful.
I love that. And for those of you guys who are watching who happen to be fans of the channel, I do have, we are going to be releasing an episode on bread later this week. So this is a perfect combination to go with the eggs that we're eating today. Bread and eggs go so well together. So as do tortillas and most other kind of vehicles to transport, like that runny yolk that you're describing. But what are some of the, I think that, and I don't know how well versed, this is an area of knowledge that I'm trying to gain, but it's the kind of the physics or the science behind the cooking of an egg, because it's basically just like a group of proteins and we're cooking it slowly so that it gets, but anyways, we don't have to go down that rabbit hole.
I was like, you want me to give you the percentage of yolk to egg white ratio breakdown here? Because man, if I get it anywhere close, it'll be like awesome. I'd say that scientifically, an egg is probably like anywhere from 50 to 60% white, 35% yolk, and the rest is going to be water or air. So you can fact check me on that. So I don't really have much in the way of the science of how the egg cooks. I just know that they're delicious and there's thousands of ways to cook eggs. And yeah, that's what I got with that one, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually, it's very fascinating because it's one of the things that I've been kind of, I've been thinking about a lot whenever I've been kind of shooting these videos is like the cooking, so much of cooking is science. It's this chemical reaction through heat or through acid or through some other like the food is being transmitted. I've always thought about like sauerkraut and fermentation. Like if you take cabbage and salt, it has so much nutrition, but then you put cabbage and salt together and you ferment it for 2 weeks, and that sauerkraut that comes out of it is way more nutritious than the two ingredients as it started as. And so it's like, if I'm correct, I believe that a cooked egg is more nutritious than a raw egg because
I
don't
know,
the way.
Man. Have you seen Rocky? Like, I don't know. I think I would take Sylvester Stallone better than you saying that it's uncooked. I mean, I trust him more, really.
Fair. Well, speaking of Rocky, you mentioned the name of the egg. Egg was called Jean-Louis. Jean-Louis.
Oh yeah, there is a story behind that.
Tell me the history of this.
So it's really funny. I'm gonna light my face on fire because I had to turn my stove off here really quick. So Jean-Louis, so over Christmas, my husband and I got sequestered, like we are now, in a very unique situation where we can't go anywhere or do anything. We got snowed in with our friend's family and their friends. And, my friend's father is Italian, and he had his Frenchman friend over, and they got into a very heated argument over who made the best eggs. And I'm just sitting there like, all right, I'm just going to let this continue and we'll see what happens, So for the next couple of days, they just battled it out, egg after egg, trying to figure out who made the best eggs. And so I'm actually cooking both of their eggs today as kind of a little homage to them, because I think they're both wonderful eggs. So this is Jean-Louis soft and slow. And I think he had it right. I think it's one of the best ways to cook an egg. You can see by the screen how the white is cooking on here and the yellow is just perfect. It's perfect to the touch. It's still soft. You're going to get that picture perfect egg out of this, and it's going to taste wonderful. So hats off to Jean-Louis.
And, and I think if you're out there and you're looking for a very photogenic egg, I think that the sunny side slow is a great one to do, as is the fried egg. you know, just throwing an idea out there. But I think that the sunny side, so that looks like the emoji of an egg.
We are
is
making the
what you have on
cartoon
your
version of an egg right now. Yes, absolutely. So, you know, they neither wanted to concede to the other person that they had the better egg, but at the end of the day, I just got to eat a ton of really good eggs. So it works out.
So you won is I think the moral of the story.
I won in that situation. Yes.
Yeah. And you had mentioned that you would serve this with toast. Are you do you season all of your eggs, or when in the process are you going to season your sunny slow?
I season the sunny slow at the end. I just finish it and serve it. I don't cook it with anything on it or anything. So you can kind of see what you really don't want is the oil or the butter to start bubbling around it, because that's when you start getting those air pockets in the whites, and you really want that just to be perfectly smooth. So you can kind of see my stove is a little too hot, and there's some bubbling going on around the edges right here. So I'm going to turn that off again and let it kind of come up to temp. But I mean, it is almost done. So it's almost right around 10 minutes on this egg.
Great.
So, and it is 10 minutes worth waiting for. I promise you, this is a good one.
And that's true, you know, then that's true with a lot of cooking and with a lot of life. But like sometimes some of the best things to do are to just kind of let nature run its course, or kind of let it breathe a little bit. So many times we can rush into food or just expect to have it a certain way. And really what we need to do is just like sit back and let the magic happen. It's how you get from 90% good to 100% good. That last 10% a lot of time is just time.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you're cooking this egg at home, I don't know if many of you are cooking it, but I wanna pose a task for you. So you have your egg. Your pan should not be very hot at all. You could probably put your hand pretty close to it, and you're not going to get burnt or anything like that. So what I want you to do is, because you're cooking this egg probably for yourself and no one else, because you're all at home, doing what you should be doing, which is staying alone. So what I want you to do, just so you can kind of see what's going on, is you're going to want to touch this white. I want you to touch this white and see that it is perfectly cooked. There is, like, when you touch it, there's no uncooked white. It's just perfectly smooth. It's got a nice give to it. It's not rubbery. It's just perfectly cooked. And then you're going to want to give your little yolk, you're going to want to just touch that really quick. And you're going to want to make sure that it's warm to the touch. So that yolk should not be ice cold. That's the point of bringing those eggs up to room temp. So if you throw a cold egg in the pan, this isn't going to work, because you want that egg to be warm when you eat it. You don't want to eat a cold yolk. That's what Rocky does. Like, we don't want to do that. So you just make sure that this yolk is perfectly warm, and it is. So that was roughly about 10 minutes, and this egg is going to be done. I'm going to grab a plate really quick. This is where your fish back comes in handy here, because this is going to get right under this egg beautifully. And you can cut, you know, if you're really wanting that photo, you can cut around where that white kind of like fell off a little bit.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, it held together beautifully.
Yeah. So this is going to be your perfect. So this is Jean-Louis low and slow egg. Yeah.
Jean-Louis, hats off to you, sir.
It's gorgeous. So hats off to him. That worked out great.
Like you got into like a diplomatic battle between France and Italy over the best egg there, and France is coming in strong with that Jean-Louis entry right there. That's a fantastic egg.
You know, that man is a genius. I swear by it.
How much, you had mentioned seasoning at the end. How much salt? Is it just a pinch of salt, or?
Yeah, so I have my salt right here. So I just do a nice little bout of salt on there, so you can kind of top it. And then what we're gonna do is I do a little cracked pepper on top.
With you 100%.
And I'm like all about pepper, so I believe you can never have too much. So you just kind of like beautifully season it like that.
That egg is
That's
calling
really
for a slice of bread to be dunked into that yolk.
It really
That's-
is. Like I'm like, do I even have bread? Oh, I do. I totally do.
Okay, great.
While we're doing that, you can-
Fantastic.
yeah.
Well,
I didn't make my bread, Paul. So we'll do a little egg action for you here. So here's your egg. Watch this.
Hold on 1 second. Yeah, there we go. Oh, yeah.
Do it
Perfect.
again.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So you see how you're able to dip that bread into that yolk, and none of the white, all the white's cooked. Oh, it's perfect.
And so that's the key. So that's for those of you guys following along at home, that is our key for the sunny side slow egg is take your time. You're not in a rush. You're at home being isolated right now. Take 10, 15 minutes to cook your eggs. Who cares? But make sure that you're giving yourself enough time so that that whole white is being cooked without there being those air pockets that Katie was talking about, and where the yolk is warm. That's going to be very key to like enjoying this egg. So I hope that you guys are successful, and I would love to pass it over to Carissa real quick if there are any questions about the sunny side slow.
No questions at the moment, but some lovely comments. Dora says that she's never made a basted egg before, so she'll be trying that soon.
Great. So yeah, Dora said, I don't know if you can hear Carissa or not, but Dora, if you're out there, I'm really excited that you're going to be trying the basted egg soon. That was super easy. It was the first time for me, and that was a very easy recipe.
Oh yeah.
Mora are huge fans, and they love the fish fry.
Oh yeah, the fish fry spatula. Yeah, thanks guys. Yeah, it's that is there. You know, there's so many wonderful little kitchen utensils and tools that will just make your life so much easier in the kitchen. And thank you, Katie, for showing us the fish fillet spatula.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's like my go-to. No matter what I'm cooking on the stove, like whether it's meat, eggs, fish, this thing, it's just lightweight, easy to handle, cheap. I think I have like 10 of these floating around between my business at home, all my catering stuff. I'm like, I always need a fish spat in my car.
Yeah.
Michael Shirley has deemed this the triple S egg.
Triple S, sunny slide slow, triple S. That's
yes,
that's
I love it.
That's great. Okay, we're gonna go ahead, and if you have questions, or if you are cooking along, please let us know. We would love to hear how it's going for you, and if you have any other further questions, we're gonna be handing it back over to Carissa like as we go, but we're also going to have a question answer session at the end. I think you had something that you wanted to interject though, real quick.
Yes, we have a question since Katie was on the equipment train. What is the best type of pan most eggs?
Okay, good question from the audience, Katie. What is the best type of pan to cook most eggs?
Most eggs.
One pan to cook
if
eggs.
If I had one pan, it would be this pan. It's perfectly seasoned. It's a good size. It's not too heavy. I have like a 18-inch one of these that's huge that I do for big brunches and stuff. But for me and my husband, like if I have to cook an egg, it's gonna be in this pan.
Is that like a 12-inch cast iron?
Yeah, it's I actually think it's smaller than that. I think it might be a 10-inch. Yeah. So like a 10-inch cast iron. You can do an 8 or a 10-inch. Both are really good.
Perfect. Great. Yeah. And I'm a big believer in cast iron, just to be able to heat up a surface and let it retain the heat. That's really going to help you when you're making eggs. Speaking of which, let's talk about our third favorite egg to cook. This is one that's going to require maybe more precision than any other. I think if you're cooking along at home, this is time to bust out your timer, because it is time for the 6-minute egg.
Woo!
That's right, everybody.
This is the perfect use for an egg timer, right? Egg timer.
Yeah.
Like
go grab that egg timer that you got 13 years ago and you've never used. This is the time.
Do you remember those Campbell's soup egg timers? Did you ever have one of those?
I didn't.
like-
I hadn't.
Yeah, it was like a can, and you like twisted it. It was like
That's
egg
classic. I have. Egg timers are great. They're wonderful. They also work as a great intervalometer for a camera for your phone for a time lapse if you are wanting to do a slow hour-long 360 view of a space. That's a whole nother show. Let's get over. If we look over at my cam, I have very sneakily been boiling some water just for this. And if you're following along at home, you need a quart pan, saucepan, something of the sort. Bring it up to a boil. And Katie, let's talk about this egg real quick before we dive into it, because this is a very particular thing that we're trying to accomplish. We are, and there's actually, not to jump into the science boat all of a sudden, this isn't a magic school bus, but we do need.
I'm not Miss Frizzle over here.
Well, if we are in the magic school bus and we're talking about the science, basically we are going to take an egg, and you were stressing that this is actually important for the egg to be at room temp for this particular application.
Yeah, so you can do a cooler egg, but potentially what could happen is when you're dropping a cold egg into boiling water, any single time that egg has like a little crack in it anywhere, it's going to cause the whole egg to crack as soon as it hits that water, because it's the temperature difference. So you want to have it like at least room temp when you put it in there. It's okay if it's a little chill. Like my yolk's a little chill right now, it probably wouldn't crack. But so what we're trying to do here, I know many of you probably have had a poached egg before, and poached eggs are one of the, to me, they're a delicious egg. They're a wonderful way to cook eggs. They're classic, but to the normal person cooking an egg at home, chances are you're probably not going to poach it because it's a little scary, and chances are you're going to mess it up once or twice before you get a good one. You don't want to waste eggs right now. So this is kind of a tried and true method to get that perfect soft boiled egg where the white is completely cooked, and you're going to get the yolk, which is going to still be runny. I'm all about runny yolks today. That is in my like wheelhouse today of eggs. So the idea is that you're going to have your water boiling. You're going to put your egg in there. It's not going to crack. It's going to be perfect because we're willing it into existence. And you can go ahead and throw it in there if you have your timer ready, Paul. And yeah, you have the right idea as far as setting it in there with a spoon. Like that is a great way to do it, because if you just drop it in there, it might hit the bottom and it might crack. So you want to put it in there nice and gentle, treat it like a lady or your dog.
You've been giving your egg a little bath, and you've been just being so gentle with it. So we're just going to be even more gentle with it. Just nice and slow.
Look at that. Nice and slow. Perfect. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put that lid right back on there. Because what happens is if you boil more at a time, it's going to lower that temp because your eggs aren't the same temp as the water. And you're going to lose that time. Yeah, put your timer on, Paul, if you got one.
I do. I got an assistant. Awesome. I have that lovely assistant that's helping me out.
Perfect. Yeah. So you're going to want to make sure that you put the lid back on so it brings it up to boiling back as quick as possible, so that you're not letting those eggs stand in non-boiling water, because it will affect the cooking time. So Paul, tell me what you're doing right there.
So I'm just grabbing a little ice out of the freezer, and I'm going to drop some on the floor because, hey, it's Easter. What's Easter without some dropped ice on the floor? I'm going to make a little ice bath.
Half the people have dropped ice on the floor just now. So I guarantee.
Well, I'm pretending that my egg, his name is Johan, and he's from Sweden, and he really likes, how like the Swedish, they're all about going into a really hot sauna and jumping into an ice lake. Well, Johan over here that's chilling out, he is all about that. He's about increasing his circulation. He's a health nut. So right now he's in the sauna, and I'm going to create the little ice lake for him to dump into and get a little like thermal
You know,
shock.
I think it's great. Hot plunge, cold plunge, do the whole thing. Good for circulation, even cooling. I got you. Like, that is perfect. My favorite.
We are getting an ice. If you are cooking this egg along with me at home, we're getting an ice bath ready for our 6-minute egg.
Yeah. And you're going to want to put a little bit of water in that ice bath. The eggs will melt the ice, but you want to just give it a little water to sit with that ice in there. There you go.
Ice water. Cheers,
Perfect.
cheers, Katie. I'm getting pretty low on my.
I maybe added a little gin to the bottom of my glass here. So
well, Easter. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's a great drink. Again, if you are just joining us, we're going through. You're probably like, "What in the world am I watching?" We're going through our 5 favorite eggs to cook. We are number 3. We're halfway through. It's the 6-minute egg, and it is currently going through its 6 minutes in a really hot boiling pot, and it's cooking on the inside. We made ourselves a little rabbit gin sour, which has been a wonderful little Easter drink. It had some egg whites in it that we shook, got a little frothy. And if you guys have questions, please let us know. Please, there's a comment box. Bring up the questions. We are going to have a big Q&A session at the very end of the video when we have gotten through all 5 eggs. And we will also be here to kind of field some questions. So we have a little bit of time. I believe we have like a couple of minutes. So Carissa, do you have a couple of quick questions for us?
One for this in particular. Do you salt the water to make the shell come off?
Okay, a question about making the shell come off easy. Is salt water a way?
Oh man, there are so many myths and advice on how to peel an egg, man. But you could do anything from put vinegar in the water to lightly crack it, to salting the water, to using day-old eggs left out on your counter, to using room temp eggs. I mean, there is literally 100 suggestions of how to get that shell to come off that egg. But the one thing that I have found to be tried and true for the most part, you know, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Like it's maybe like 95% of the time, this is how it works, right? You put that egg in there, just water, just do its thing, let it cook, do the thing, right? So what you're going to want to do is throw it into your ice bath, and you're going to want to peel it immediately while it's still hot in that cold water. You can kind of dip your hands in the cold water while you're peeling it so that you don't burn yourself. Unlike me, I have, you know, homage to Rachel Ray here, I have dead fingers, so I can literally touch whatever. But it's just, you know, you just want to peel it as quick as possible while it's still hot, because as the egg is cooling, there's a membrane around the egg. And so when you're cooling that egg down, that membrane, it's like suction, right? So as it's cooling, it's sucking into that egg, and it's going to be harder and harder to peel it as it cools down. But you don't want your yolk overcooked, so you have to peel it while it's in the ice bath, kind of coming down to temp. So it's a very like delicate balance of should I or shouldn't I, you know, how do I peel it? So that's kind of the best way I found. This is, you know, it's a really hard method when you're doing lots of eggs, because you can't peel them all quick enough. And so towards the end, you're getting these eggs that are stuck because it's too cold. So my advice was to do them in batches. I know it takes longer, but you're going to get perfect eggs both times, every time. I don't know how many eggs you're cooking.
Yeah, maybe people are cooking hundreds because it's Easter, and I hope you are. And if you are, please let us know. That's a major feat. But what it sounds like you're saying is that the nemesis to a perfectly peeled egg is the membrane. So
yeah,
it's more of how do we deal with this membrane, and the best way is to attack it while it is going. My timer has gone off, so
yeah!
let's get going.
Yeah, you know, that membrane, I've done 500 eggs before this way for a plated dinner, and it took a very, very long time to do, but it was worth it because every single egg was perfect. You know, you peel them and they're perfect.
Okay, so I'm gonna just dunk it in here.
Yep, dunk it in there really quick, get that shell a little cool. And then while it's still warm, crack it on the counter or the bowl. And then if it gets too hot for you, if it's too hot, dunk it back in that ice water while you're peeling it so you don't hurt your hands. And it should be coming right off.
Yep.
Awesome. God, that worked.
It's helping that it is a little warm, I must say.
Yeah. And you can feel that membrane pulling away from the egg. And then you're going to want to put it right back. So put it right back in that cold water. Yeah. So unless you're serving, like we're going to serve it hot right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Pull it out, throw it on a plate, and give us that money shot.
Okay, here we go. For those eagle-eye viewers, I am barefoot today, so didn't expect.
I was wondering. I have to show you my shoes today too, because I saw there was a question of what shoes you wear.
Okay, all right. So do we just cut right into this guy?
Oh yeah, cut right into it.
Oh my
yolk.
Goodness!
Look at that yolk.
It's like a Cadbury egg.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just salt and pepper this guy.
Salt and pepper those guys. You know, it is ideal if you're wanting to do eggs Benedict at home. That is an easy way to do it. And if you're cooking for a group of people, what you can do is cook those eggs in advance, peel them, put them in the ice bath, put them in the fridge. And then the next day, all you have to do is drop them in boiling water for 2 minutes and they're going to be heated again.
Oh, okay. So 2 minutes. So that's a great caterer trick. And
yes.
That's one of the, that's one of the greatest things that I've enjoyed in terms of talking about food with you is learning all of these little tricks of the trade. So you would recommend doing another 6-minute boil, peeling, doing them in batches, as you were saying, don't do it all at once.
Yep.
And then put them in the fridge to avoid any type of like weird bacteria crap that happens.
Yeah.
And then take them out, throw them back into the water, reheat them for 2 minutes, and then serve them just like this.
Just like that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have to try this.
I know.
Well, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Perfect runny yolk. If you're feeling daring, you can always do it for 5 minutes too. That's a good way to do it. If you like your white a little bit softer, more traditional to a poached egg, it's a little bit trickier to peel. It's a little bit more delicate, so you have to be careful. But if you do 5 minutes, it'll give you the same kind of egg, but the white will be a little bit more jiggly.
Jiggly.
Yeah.
A great word.
Jiggly.
And if you are not a fan of running anything, 12-minute boil.
Oh God, yeah. If you just want a boiled egg, throw it in there for 10 minutes is great. But you want to have your water boiling, right? So if you want to do a 12-minute egg, you can put your eggs in the water, bring them up, boil them, turn it off. But the traditional way I do it is have the water already boiling, throw it in for 10 minutes, ice bath them. You get that perfect egg, totally cooked all the way.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Well, 6-minute egg, that was success. I just ate that so quick. I was really enjoying it. I hope you guys give that a try. I hope you are trying it. Let us know how it goes. Let's keep this train going, Katie. Let's go into our second favorite egg. I have a feeling.
I just saw one of the comments and it was Katie has deglazed her cocktail glass with gin.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So good.
And you also have a comment that you are the definition of cool.
Oh, so cool. Let me tell you.
So cool. All right, so let's go into our second favorite way to cook an egg. It is the soft scram. Dun, dun, dun.
This is part two of the Italian Frenchman saga. Okay. So this was our dear friend, UMI's dear friend, Kieran, his father, got it in his mind that he could Alois de Frenchman's perfect egg. So he's Italian. And how he cooks his eggs is traditionally with mascarpone and chives. So that's like a soft scram with mascarpone and chives. That is a good way to cook an egg, let me tell you.
That's a great way to cook an egg. I mean, it's fat on fat with a little bit of vegetation.
Yeah. So, with this egg, I know we're all kind of in quarantine here. So if you are cooking along with us, if you don't have mascarpone, you can use whatever melty cheese you have in your fridge. It can be easy melt. It doesn't matter, but it does matter because mascarpone and eggs is wonderful. But that's neither here nor there, and we're not going to judge you. So
you're looking for an easily meltable cheese.
Easy meltable cheese. You don't want something like a cheddar because it could pull it. When you eat your eggs, that cheese is going to pull, and we don't want that like stringy melty cheese. We want that creamy emulsified effect with this cheese. So we basically want the cheese and the eggs to create this almost sauce. That way, when you put it on toast, it's like spreading egg cheese goodness,
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
Let's cut over to your camera real quick to see kind of what you're doing, and maybe you can kind of walk us through the process here.
Yeah. So what I have here, obviously, we talked about the pans. I'm using the same pan. Basically, I have all these pans in my stove, and I'm still going to use the same pan. So I still have a little residual oil in my pan, which is totally fine. That's not going to mess anything up. But what I am going to do, get a little knife here. I have some butter that I've kind of left out at room temp. You don't have to have it out at room temp. I just like it out at room temp. Counter butter is the best thing on the planet. So let's go ahead and agree on that. I like a lot of butter. So I'm going to put like a hunk. I'm going to put, it's maybe 2. It's a bunch of butter.
Bunch of butter.
So
you have too much butter.
I'm going to put this in this pan, and you can kind of see that this is also on a low to medium heat. We're not working with high heat yet today. We're going to keep doing these things low and slow because frankly, we're bored and we have time to do it. So, you get a good product.
I mean, what else are we going to do?
What else are you going to do? So a lot of things that you can do. There's multiple ways to do this. You can take 2 eggs and you can crack them in a bowl and whisk them. That's totally fine. If you don't want the extra dishes, you can crack, because you're on such a low heat, you can crack directly into the pan. You don't need to whip them in a bowl. You're still going to get light and fluffy eggs out of this, I promise. So what I'm going to do, butter's still going in there, which is great. I'm going to smash my egg like a freak.
Love it.
You
need to break that yolk anyway, so just smash it.
So this is where your little rubber spat is going to come in to play. Okay.
What was your name for that again?
I call it a rubber spat. Sorry.
No, you had another name for it, a little doodad or something.
Rubber doo-doo.
Rubber, yeah, there you go.
A little rubber doo-doo, yeah. So
you're gonna
want to
do
take your little rubber doo-doo. So what I have here is this is mascarpone. I have probably like 2 to 3 tablespoons of mascarpone cheese. That's a lot, and it's gonna be delicious. You're basically creating an egg soft scram custard sitch going on here, which is awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and add all of that already into my eggs, and I'm just gonna kind of use my rubber spat and smudge that. Smudging, another really technical technique here. I'm gonna smudge the mascarpone in with the egg.
What I love about what you can see is that you can actually see the cheese already just kind of enveloping itself around the egg. It's becoming one texture. You can see the color is getting that light white color, and it's already being incorporated so well. And so that's kind of, would you say maybe the key here is to get a cheese that is going to just integrate so quickly?
It is the key, and it also is a key to leave it at room temp. So this is like the biggest thing. Anytime you're cooking eggs, meat, cheese, anything, you never want to throw things onto heat cold because it's going to bring your heat down, and it's not going to give you a good sear, a good melt, a good blend. it's really going to affect your cooking time. So whether you're cooking burgers, steak, chicken, it doesn't matter. You always want to bring your food up to room temp before you cook it. So
Great tip.
Refrigeration is only to keep your food longer, not to serve as like a thing from which you should cook directly from, unless it's like ice cream or something, you know.
But that's not really cooking. I guess it's more preparing.
That's just like eating. That's just eating. It's fine.
Oh.
So you can kind of see this egg. It's very thick. We're just kind of moving it around. I have it on extremely low heat to the point where I kind of turned it off for a minute because I don't want to get any brown in these eggs. Like I don't want any rough, like super high heat cooking. Soft scram egg is one of my favorites. What you can do at this point, I have cut up, I don't have any chives. So sorry, Michael, if you see this at some point, I have green onions. So this is what we're using today.
He'll probably never forgive you.
Michael will call me a hillbilly for using green onions. So that's fine. It's totally fine.
Not the first time.
Not the first time that's happened. So I've added these green onions to this mix, and I am just slowly stirring this, kind of giving it a little push around the pan. Nothing crazy.
And would you
Those
say
green onions are in there?
this is kind of going back towards the comment that you were kind of your workaround with your stove? Like if someone's at home and their stove is just getting too hot, you're using a thicker metal pan, and you're kind of warming it up, taking it off, taking the heat off, warming it up, taking the heat off. You're kind of
so if you're using if you're using an aluminum pan or a copper pan, so I have a really pretty copper pan hanging back there. If you're using that pan, because it's copper and if you're cooking this egg in it, as soon as you cut that heat, it's going to drop the heat of the pan because the conductivity of the pan is so amazing. But I just like cast iron, so I like cooking in it. It's what I cook in. So what that means is the pan is going to hold residual heat, and so if I bring it up to temp, it's going to hold for another 5 minutes. If I turn the burner off, it's still going to have that heat. So you can cook it like that, which is great. But if you're using just like a regular pan, just keep it on low. Just keep it on low, do your thing. We're still cooking.
And are you
slowly cooking these eggs?
Are you kind of always agitating it there? You're kind of always moving it around?
I am, yeah. So I'm constantly going to be moving it because I really want it to be kind of broken up, right? Like, so you can have, when you scramble eggs and you're doing them on high heat, you can have these like big chunks of eggs that are scrambled, and that's fine because you're just making like scrambled eggs and bacon. But for this purpose, we really want this beautiful, like broken up, soft scrammy egg. So where you have these little egg chunks that are probably like, yay, big. And here we go. It's starting to solidify here a little bit.
That's looking
But
great.
just take time.
Let's head it over to Carissa real quick. Is there a question that we can address while we're waiting for the slow scram to get up?
Well, we have a great conversation going in the comments, which is fantastic. I think everyone's having a good time.
Great. I'm glad that you guys are all engaging with each other too, because this is a community Sunday cooking after all.
And so to bring the community together.
And thanks for taking time out of your day. This is like so sweet that y'all are all here doing this with us.
And to make it even better, we have a suggestion to provide the cocktail recipe in advance, so everyone can start drinking before the show starts.
Oh.
Good call, everybody.
Right. You're all
if you
correct.
are just joining us, or if you did not, if you did not get the cocktail recipe, fun thing about YouTube live stream, if you want to figure out how to make this cocktail, just slide on back. It was about the first 10 minutes in there.
Do me a favor, really quick, just because this is an important part. Come back to these eggs real quick.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's why we're here.
So these eggs are slowly coming together here, and the pan is really hot. So what I've done is taken it off the heat, and I'm just kind of stirring these eggs together. Do you see how it's like a cheesy sauce?
Yeah.
So we are almost done. I mean, it's going to be maybe another minute for these soft scram eggs.
Right.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Paul.
Oh no, and just as talking about like the thermal dynamics of the eggs, just as a cold egg is going to take longer to get up to temp, a hot egg off the pan is not going to suddenly stop cooking as well.
Yeah.
There's carryover on both sides of that coin. So you don't necessarily want to wait and for your eggs to be completely done in the pan, because the moment you put them on the plate, they're going to continue to cook as the thermal temperature comes back down to room temp slowly. So that's a great segue to come back to. But we'll have more cocktail talk soon. But it looks like we're getting close with these eggs.
So I'm just going to season them at this point. They're almost done. I'm going to give them a nice helping of pepper and salt. You can kind of see what I have going on here. And then I'm going to give them a nice little stir. They are just about done.
They look fantastic.
Yeah, their soft scram is great. You know, a good way to serve this is on toast, obviously. And then you can crumble a little goat cheese on top of it. It just gives it a nice sour flavor, little pop, little freshness. You can also shave a little bit of lemon zest on top of it. That's like a really awesome way to serve this. It just kind of like pops some freshness into it. You'll note that I didn't put any cream or anything into the scrambled eggs because you're adding cheese. So you don't need to add milk or cream or anything like that, because you're going to have this great creamy egg to begin with.
That sounds fantastic.
What I'm going to do really quick is grab a plate and some toast, and I'm going to show you what this looks like. I obviously didn't toast my bread because I'm a fool.
Hey, you know, we're all, this is our first time, you know, we got to like,
I know, we're all in it.
We're all in it together. Even the people that didn't get the recipe for the drink in the comments, you know, they all have a conversation about,
don't worry,
wait a minute, I was here for the drink.
I was like, after we're done with this one, we're going to talk about the drink here. So this is your soft scram egg. So this is what it's going to look like in the pan. It's really loose. It's like an eggy little custardy sauce.
Yeah,
So
show it to us again there.
Yeah, can you see it?
Oh yeah, there it is. Perfect.
Yeah, so that's your soft scram, and I'm just going to serve this right over toast.
Oh man, that looks delicious.
Slash bread, right?
One of these days, we're not social distancing. I'll get to try that.
So here it is, right? So it's going to be this beautiful, you still have a ton of wobble to this egg. It's very like loose, and it's not, you're not getting like rubbery egg, right? Because you've done it low and slow. This is a great way to do an egg, especially if you want to put it, say you want to put it on like a sandwich or something, like a BLTE. So good.
BLTE.
And also, I have to try it because I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's not wrong. Mascarpone and eggs is outrageous. So good.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Really appreciate all your insight and your help making this episode possible. Jean-Louis as well. This Egg Day brought to you by the French and the Italians. Really appreciate
this
all you
egg
guys.
Is incredible. It's incredible, by the way.
It looks incredible. Carissa's got
so
a question.
Dal wanted to know, Katie, what were you drinking that day when France and Italy were debating the egg?
Oh,
okay.
God.
So the question was, Katie, what were you drinking when France and Italy were going in an international dispute over the best way to prepare an egg?
Yeah. So I was drinking. So Michael really likes to make cappuccinos. So he made us all cappuccinos, which was unreal, right? So having a host like just make you eggs and cappuccinos is unreal. So that was a good day. But we also drank a ton of wine. Like that was the drink of choice. So good. But this was a cappuccino out of this world.
That's a great way to start your day. And speaking of drinks, For those of you who are late to the party or who have not been here since the beginning, we started off the show by making a rabbit gin sour. It is Easter after all. We're making eggs. Why not bring some bunnies along in for the ride? The rabbit gin sour is the juice of 1 lemon. It is a couple of pinches of sugar. It is enough gin that you can handle. And it is 1 egg yolk and a shaker with some ice cubes. And you shake it for about 1 to 2 minutes, basically until your hand gets so cold that you can't hold the shaker anymore. You know it's done. You get a nice little frothiness from the egg white, and it's a delicious drink that I have finished and have since deglazed my glass with gin as well. It'll only last you, it can only last you an hour. That is what we have determined as well in this episode. So if you do get a chance to make it, please let us know how it goes. It's great. Rabbit gin sour. So we'll put that recipe ahead of time next time for all you faithful viewers out there. Make sure that you'll be able to make a drink with us for the live show.
We kind of last minute decided we were doing that too. So
yeah, it was kind of this is all like an experimentation in live streaming. And thank you guys so much for being here. If you are new to the party, we are going through our top 5 favorite ways to prepare eggs. We are up to our number 1 way to prepare an egg, which is really exciting because we get to share that with all of you. We are also here for supporting our dear friend, Katie, and all of you guys. We're all supporting each other. This is a community thing. I love that you guys are engaging with one another in the chat. If you have questions for us right after the fried egg, we're going to have a question and answer session. We have a couple more surprises for you guys, so please stick around to the end because there's going to be some things that you will not believe. You probably will believe Easter, but we have some fun stuff planned. But I think it's I'm going to I just want to thank you guys for bearing with us through all of the technical difficulties that we had. Thanks for finding the new link. Thanks for being on top of technology. I mean, this time has been an era where we have really had to lean into technology to connect with one another, and you guys are adapting with us. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys all being here. Katie, are you ready for our number 1 egg?
yes. So I have just wiped out my pan from our soft scram. I just wiped it out because it's cast iron. There's egg in it. It's totally fine. I've had a few gins, Paul. So I think I'm ready for egg number 1.
Okay, here we go. All right. The moment you guys have all been waiting for. What could possibly be our favorite way to prepare an egg? Well, it is none other than the dun 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 the fried egg.
Yes.
That's right. Sometimes the number 1 is the guy that you expect it to be. It is the one that you think will always be there for you. It's the fried egg, but it's not just any fried egg. It's the fried eggs. We are going to literally fry eggs in butter. There's no better way to. Katie, let's walk through what our viewers at home need to make this.
Let me just tell you right now, we're going to need your pan. So you can use a cast iron pan. You can use a non-stick pan. You can literally use any pan that you have. That's kind of just the beauty of this whole thing. You want to have any type of pan available. What I have gone ahead and done, pans on the stove. I have gotten my pan between a medium and a high heat, and typically stay between medium heat, just to give it a nice temp. I don't know what the degreeage, that's a word, by the way, of the heat that you would want. But I have my stove at roughly a 6, whatever that means. So that's a good kind of in between temp.
Not an 11.
You're on 11. That's great. However you want to cook your fried egg. The beauty of a fried egg is that you can cook it however you want as long as there's a ton of fat in it and you're the only one eating it. So it doesn't matter. You can have crispy edges. You can flip it. You can do whatever you want to this egg, right? That's the beauty of a fried egg. But my only requirement as a human being on this planet is that it has to be fried in butter. If you do anything else, it is blasphemous. So.
Fair. That's a very fair request of the folks out there.
That's it.
Butter.
That's it. Yeah.
Hmm.
So what I'm going to do, I'm not joking when I'm showing you how much butter I'm putting in this pan. This is my butter. It's almost half a stick.
Okay, half a stick of butter.
It's going in there like nobody's business. Oh, nice and melty. This is perfect.
And one of the reasons why we want to use so much butter is because we're actually, in a way, going to be basting this egg too, right?
Yeah, it's very similar. You know, the act of frying, right? Like you want that fat to cover that egg. You want the egg to be cooked completely, but you also want that beautiful runny yolk. With the fried egg, you can do over medium, you can do over hard. I typically, like if I'm making eggs and bacon, I'll do an over like medium, soft to medium, because again, I don't like runny whites. So I have to have whites cooked completely. And so typically that means close to an over medium egg. So we got this butter going. It's getting to be a nice temperature, nice color. You want it all melted. I'm going to go ahead and take my egg and I'm going to crack this baby in here. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. So we have the butter is almost like perfectly in line with the white of this egg. You got some bubbling on the sides. This is the part, you know, the low and slow, you don't want any bubbling. With the fried egg, you want that bubbly, you want a little bit of crisp on the outside.
My eggs come to party.
Yeah, your egg coming to party. Look at that. You have some nice like brown butter around the outside of it. That looks so good.
Oh man, this thing.
It's bubbling, it's frying. If you're feeling saucy, you can do what Paul did just there and get a spoon and spoon a little bit of that butter over it.
I'm feeling really saucy. It's Easter, and I made a basted egg, and now I'm basting another egg. This is sauce central over here.
Yeah, sauce central. So this is going to be your fry egg. So here's what we got here. Look at this.
This is a shout out to all you butter fans. This egg's for you.
Look at this. This egg is completely soaked in butter.
Oh yeah, let's see Katie's. Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Totally soaked in butter. It's got this beautiful color. It's starting to puff up a little bit. I'm just covering it with all of that. And it's going. Getting a little foamy. It's doing a whole thing. You can move it around a little bit if it's getting stuck. Again, trusty fish spat. Great way to do it. So the other thing, you know, so I have this beautiful fried egg here. It's almost ready to go. But because it's egg day, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a flip.
Here we go.
So we have a shit ton of butter in this pan. So I'm probably, oh, sorry, pardon my language. Probably going to burn myself. I've had a few gins now, so I was very good for a while.
Yeah,
all right.
We're it's too late.
It's too late for no. You ready? So we got
ready. Let's see it.
There we go.
Nice.
Beautiful flipped egg. Spilt a little butter, but didn't burn myself. And now that that egg is flipped, it is ready to go.
I feel good.
So,
you know, I'm actually going to, in the spirit of our runny oak for egg day, I'm going to leave mine unflipped just for a little bit of a, just to be a little.
I think that's great. So I'm going to show you this one really quick. So
great. Yeah. Let's.
This is going to have fried egg, runny yolk. Got the yolk in there. Tons of butter. You can season it after the fact. And that's going to be your over easy egg, basically over easy fried egg. So if you don't like white at all, this is a good option. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing great. I'm gonna put a little salt. I'm gonna crack a little pepper because we are in Texas.
Oh my God. God, I love fried eggs.
And I'll show you over in my stove cam. Kind of broke the yolk a little bit but you know, it doesn't matter. And I have some nice coloration under that egg, some nice crispiness. And this is another thing that I would put directly onto a nice piece of toast. This is a great way just to eat an egg. Let's go for some of this crispy stuff.
Yeah. Paul, how many eggs have I eaten today? My cholesterol is going to be through the roof.
Hey, you know, it's Easter. That's okay.
You're right.
We got a comment or a question there,
Yeah,
Carissa?
we have a couple questions. First question, Katie, did you just make one egg? Right?
Yeah, so
pretty huge.
Yeah, so that was just one egg. These are large brown eggs. They're double A grade brown eggs. But what happens is when you're cooking them like that and they're fried, that white is gonna puff. Like, so when you flip it, it's gonna kind of expand and it's gonna look bigger and fluffy and things like that. If you just leave it with the yolk up, it's not gonna puff as much. So that white cooking on the top like that is gonna give it a little layer and make it seem like it's a huge egg, but it's actually not, it's just one egg.
Cool. Second question, how do you feel about clarified butter? Does it make the eggs better or is it a waste of clarified butter?
Okay, so the question, in case people can't hear Carissa, a question about clarified butter. Is it good or is it a waste for eggs? That's a good question.
That's a great question. Ooh. So I'm thinking of ghee, right? Like I'm thinking about cooking eggs with ghee and clarified butter and things like that. You know, clarified butter, the idea behind it, right, is you're pulling the water out. I think that maybe when you're frying eggs and you're using full fat butter and full water butter, it's actually adding like a steaming element to the egg. So maybe if you're using just, you know how we just talked about how the eggs get a little puffy? I'm wondering if you use just clarified butter, if the eggs are going to get that full effect of kind of puffing that white a little bit, and or if it's just going to kind of like fry it and it's going to be flat, you know, it's going to cook it really fast because there's no water content to evaporate. Science, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? It all comes down to science. I mean, it's how rocket ships go into space. It's how food gets cooked. It's all because of science. That's a great question. We actually, we're going to go into a question and answer session. So if you guys have any lingering questions, we're kind of wrapping up the show. Please go ahead and write your question into the comment. Keep engaging with each other. I love to hear that you guys are having conversations with one another. We have a couple more things that we wanted to go ahead and share with you guys. But while we're doing that, go ahead and get your questions out. Carissa's going to be taking note of all of those, and we'll have like kind of a rapid fire session where we get to communicate with you guys a little bit more. But Katie, I mean, I feel like we did a really good job. We hit all of our bases. We did some really slow and low cooking to kind of preserve some of those proteins. We did some really high and fast cooking with the fried egg. We did a couple of different base eggs, really, but we did one in salsa, we did one in butter. I feel like we really just kind of hit all the bases, and I can't think of another egg really that like would really.
Paul, you're like, I can't believe you today. I have one more egg for you, and I made it especially because it's Easter. I made smoked deviled eggs.
Oh, no way. I can't believe you make smoked. I can't believe we forgot about deviled eggs. That's a great way to do it. Let me come around and grab it from you. I mean, I know that we're socially distant.
Yeah. Do you want to try it?
I would love to try one. I mean, is that weird?
Like, yeah. Here.
Okay, I'm ready.
There you go.
Whoa.
What?
Wow. The power of technology. I mean, that must be, I can't believe that you were able to just hand me an egg through the webcam.
You know, the internet is making strides. Telling you.
Cheers to science.
Cheers to science. Mm, mm, mm,
That's
mm, mm.
fantastic.
So
Is
good.
it- Tell me about the filling that you use for your deviled eggs, because I'm getting some mustard.
So we have a little bit of it's actually a green peppercorn mustard. We have some sweet and sour like wickle pickles sliced up in there. Mayonnaise, salt and pepper, pickle juice. Like, it's really simple, and it like packs a punch. It's really good. I'm gonna eat another one.
Yeah, please. Yeah. If you can hand me another one, that would be really cool.
Here, I have another one for you. Here you go, Paul.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh,
Here, come grab it.
oh, great. Wow. Look at that. I just can't get over that. And it doesn't really change
I
when it
know.
gets sent through
It's
the
amazing.
webcam. Yeah.
It's amazing. Science, technology is amazing.
I'm noticing that here, I'll bring it closer to the camera, but you kind of cut your deviled eggs differently.
Oh yeah. So I'm like choking on a deviled egg now. So a really great way to do deviled eggs. You know how they make all those like crazy deviled egg platters, and it's like kind of fun, but then you take the platter to a party and the deviled eggs fall off anyways in your car, and that's just what happens. A better way to cut a deviled egg. So you take your egg, and once it's boiled and peeled and you've done the whole thing, you're gonna slice this part off, just like a little bit to make a flat area. And then you're gonna slice it directly this way and pull your yolk out instead of slicing it this way, because it's genius. You're welcome. You're welcome. I have forever changed your deviled egg game. So when they sit on a piece of paper, they're not gonna move. Like, they're just gonna sit there, which is great.
Give them a nice foundation. Perfect.
Up in your egg game since 2020.
That's what today has all been about. Well, let's just go through it one last time for everybody. Our number 5 egg is a basted egg. And as we were talking about, there is no limit practically to what you can baste an egg in. If it's a liquid that you can get hot, throw an egg on top of it, baste it. Let's see what happens. Number 4 is going to be the sunny side slow, courtesy of Jean-Louis and a rager of a snowed-in night with some wine. The sunny side slow. Take your time with this egg. You do want to make sure that you're cooking the whites all the way through. No air pockets, no burnt edges, but a warm yolk. Very important. Our third is the 6-minute egg. Very particular, very fussy, but very delicious. It looks like one of those Cadbury eggs on those commercials. It's a fantastic way to do it. And the way that we were able to peel it so easily is that we threw it into an ice bath, but while it was still warm, we peeled it under water and out of the water to make sure that membrane didn't contract too much. So our number 2 was the soft scram, courtesy of the Italian in the French-Italian War, egg war. And that was lots of butter, mascarpone cheese, and some chives or green onions if you're a hillbilly, and give it time as well. Let it go nice, long, and slow. Believe us, the benefits of cooking an egg slow are just as wonderful as cooking them fast. And speaking of fast, heat up a ton of butter in a pan, throw an egg in there, baste it if you need to, get some crispy edges, keep that yolk running, or flip it and make it over medium, over hard if you desire. But a fried egg is the king, unless, of course, you're speaking about deviled eggs, which a smoked deviled egg with everything, including a unique way to cut it, is perhaps our wild card winner of the day. Top it all off with a rabbit gin sour, and you have, my friends, Egg Day. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers to Egg Day.
Cheers to Egg Day. So let's thank you guys so much for being here. We still have some time if we want to kind of get to some of the comments and the questions. You guys have been fabulous. I am so excited to see kind of like what type of conversations were taking place behind the scenes. But I'm going to hand it over to Carissa real quick. Well, I'll repeat the questions, but what do we have?
Well, first of all, we have an amazing community here. Kind of having a good time, good vibes in the chat.
Community good vibes on hand. Thank you, guys.
First off, this has been a very entertaining show, says Mike Shirley. All shows should be this entertaining, so thanks to you two.
Cheers to an entertaining show. Thank you so much for the compliment. I couldn't have done it without Katie and Carissa, and perhaps there is someone on your end, Katie, that is.
There is. He was here for a brief second helping.
We got some good-looking eggs today, and Dow even made a fried egg taco himself right now.
Way to go, Dow!
Yeah.
Fried egg taco. That's fabulous. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. We still have a few lingering questions we want to dive into.
Yeah, let's hear them.
First of all, Katie, we didn't get to see it earlier. What kind of shoes do you wear while you cook?
Right, Katie,
Oh,
what
girl.
shoes do you wear while you cook?
Oh God. Do you want to see what shoes I'm wearing right now?
Yeah.
It's like atrocious, but I'm pretty happy about it.
Yeah. Oh, Tevas. Tevas for the win.
Yes.
That's awesome. It is a warm day today. It's a sunny, warm day. Get some sun on the
But also,
toes.
Tevas are so comfortable. Like, I trust myself not to drop hot butter on my feet. So, whatever.
Well, yeah.
Well, how about you, Paul?
Well, I am barefoot. I believe some people may have already seen that in my camera, but fun fact, I am tall and I have to have the camera so far behind me that I typically don't wear shoes when I'm doing any of these shows. So if you happen to see any of the cooking videos, I'm typically barefoot. So there you go. That's the wizard behind the curtain for you.
Katie's like the next Mario Batale in the chef world.
Okay.
So good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Woo!
No questions. Going back to just getting your eggs.
Okay.
So, we had a question about, are there any grocery stores in which one could find day fresh local eggs since the farmers?
Day fresh local eggs. I think that is going to be a very tall order today in these times. A lot of municipalities, Austin included, will actually encourage you to have your own chickens. So
Yes.
I think the best way to get a fresh egg is to get yourself some hens. Don't get yourself a rooster. Someone in our neighborhood bought a rooster. I don't know why. The thing's loud. Reminds me of living in Indonesia, which is like why I love it. But your neighbors will hate you. So make sure it's a female. That would be my tip for prepping for a pandemic. Buy some hens.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've come across any day fresh eggs.
Day fresh eggs, yeah, you're definitely going to want to befriend your neighbor that you've never talked to who has their chickens, and just let them kind of give you some eggs on goodwill. Maybe trade them some bread that you make next week for some eggs. Just saying. Wheatsville would be a good thing to try. The farmer's market, even the farmer's market, they're probably not going to be day fresh, right? Like, farmer's market, they're going to harvest them all week and you're going to get them that week, like, which is so fresh. But probably the only way you're going to get day fresh eggs is from your own chickens or from neighbors. So
right.
Paul had it.
Yeah, make friends with your neighbors. This is now more than ever. Make friends with your neighbors.
Yeah.
And do we got anything else there?
Yes. Besides salt and pepper, what herbs go well with eggs?
Ooh, herbs for eggs. You want to take that one first?
Yeah. So herbs for eggs, obviously any type of green onion, chive. I like thyme and oregano. It just depends what you're kind of doing with it. I like smoked paprika, garlic. Yeah. I mean, literally, like, you could put mint on an egg and it would be pretty damn good. Like, just depends how you're serving it.
I think that's the key, right? Is how you're going to serve it. I mean, I'm a huge fan of rosemary, but I'd be careful about those very fibrous herbs, because served raw, they can like stick in your teeth and they can be something to chew through. But one thing that you can do if you want to incorporate rosemary into your eggs is make a rosemary butter. Just kind of cook butter really nice and slow with some chopped rosemary into it. You can strain out the rosemary and you got rosemary butter. Cook your egg in that. An idea.
Yeah, I think that's great. any herb butter. So anytime you make a butter, that's an awesome way to cook eggs. You can infuse your butter with anything and cook your eggs in it.
Boom. Even
Yeah,
some
done.
gin and butter go well.
Gin. I was thinking shrimp. You could take your shrimp shells and make shrimp butter and like do it for like shrimp and grits or something. I don't know. Just throwing that out there.
I mean, we can keep going, but I think let's go to the next question. That's a great idea. There's a rabbit hole that we're entering.
Sounds like we might need a whole show about butter.
Yeah, there's a butter show on the horizon.
Yeah, exactly.
Are champagne cocktails appropriate no matter what?
Yes.
Champagne cocktails
Absolutely.
are always appreciated, and you know, champagne would go great with eggs. Something light. Most champagne cocktails are gonna have some type of a twist in it, either some type of citrus, predominantly lemon. We have lemon in our cocktails, so all about the champagne cocktail.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And what was the infamous deviled egg portal that we just
Well, it will be forever talked about in history books as the first deviled egg to pass wirelessly through webcam. But you guys are all part of history, and I'm so happy you were here for it.
Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna leave that one a mystery for you. Sorry, Dow.
Yeah, we have someone interested in bottomless mimosas, so maybe next time we should do champagne cocktails.
Whatever drink needs to be bottomless next time, because I just keep deglazing my glass with gin. So as the
But also the gin is bottomless. Like,
great. Well, I think that there's one other thing that I wanted to share, and it's a shout out also to a local maker. Carissa was actually able to procure this recently, socially distant and all. But yeah, how about we give a round of applause virtually to my wonderful helper in all of this, fielding all of your questions. Carissa, tell us about what you have.
Because we can't get enough eggs, we have a chocolate egg for Easter, courtesy of Chocolaterie Tessa.
yeah.
This, which is fantastic. So here, have some more eggs.
Here, stay here with us because I know that you're a chocolate nut, and let's see what this looks like here. So we're going to open this. I don't know if you guys can see that, but we're just going to open this up, and wow. So Carissa, I see 3 different colors going on with this egg. Like what are those 3 different colors?
So we have some dark chocolate, some white chocolate, and ruby chocolate. Katie, have you heard of ruby chocolate before? It's like
It's made from red cacao beans.
amazing.
Yeah.
Red cacao beans.
So excited to try it. So it's
Or
not
get the pink.
It is
Wow, it's
these
heavy.
ruby colored cacao.
Is that completely chocolate or is it
Yes.
hollow? Are you kidding me? That's awesome. Oh my God.
So we're gonna slice into this.
So congrats on a beautiful egg day.
Oh, wait a minute. There's something going on. Oh! It just exploded. It exploded into chocolate pieces inside of the egg. There's even a chocolate dipped apricot, dried apricot. There's chocolate, I don't even know, candy ginger. Ah, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's better than Easter eggs.
Wow.
Awesome.
It is an Easter egg, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Awesome. We'll have to see if we can send this through the deviled egg portal. But
Yeah, I don't know if it works for chocolate, but we're gonna give it a try. But okay, everybody, I think that is that's a wrap. That is going to I think we were able to cover our bases. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this live stream. It was our first 2-hour live stream. Katie, that was 2 hours. Congratulations.
Oh my God, that was so long. I'm sorry.
No, that was perfect. We had a great time. And I think like, Carissa, why don't you come over here? I think like, you know, per every tradition of of times when we must be socially distant, we got to find a way in which that we can all be connected. And so I encourage you all to reach out to those that you love and to those that you care about. Connect with them on this very special day. Cook eggs for those that are around you. Cook eggs for yourself. Use our recipes. Let us know how it goes. Crack some eggs over your loved ones.
It's egg day!
Hey, happy Easter! Oh, Katie, you got some too. Katie, do you have something you can crack over your head?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you so much for being a part of this live stream, everybody. This was a lot of fun. We'll be back. There'll be 2 new episodes this week on Tuesday and Friday. One, as we tease, is going to be bread. Another one's going to be something great for your health. So stay tuned for those. We'll be back next weekend for another live show. And of course, big thanks to our very special guest today, Kate. Thank you so much for being here and sharing so much of your knowledge. Again, she is the chef of Kilawasi Catering and Food Truck here in Austin, Texas. Katie, is there a way in which people can reach out to you and support you during these times?
Oh, just follow us on social media and, stay tuned. We're going to be back better than ever soon enough when this is all over.
And it's Kilawasi. That's Killawasi.
ATX. Yeah.
At ATX. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. You got it.
And if you also
you'll find it.
She's also offering online gift cards. So if you guys do want to pre-buy a meal, you won't regret it whenever you're in town. Independence Brewery has some amazing beers as well. They do a great job. It's just it's a really fun environment. We've been there a couple of times. Can't wait to go back when this is all over. And I hope all of you out there are staying safe and having a great time. So let's have a big round of applause in the chat for Katie. Thank you so much. And cheers to all of you guys. I love all you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much, Katie. You're the grand dame of them all. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, everybody. Bye.